Homelessness is a controversial issue. It is also a political issue. It is an issue that is very difficult to talk about, even for me as someone who serves the homeless. Um, Homelessness is difficult to talk about because homeless people are so heavily stigmatized by Western society, specifically American society as I understand it. This is probably due to capitalist pressures. You could apply any Marxist critique and you would kind of see why there's injustice in the situation. Homelessness is a very difficult issue to talk about because of these stigmas, and it's hard for people that try to serve the homeless because people that serve the homeless, at least me personally, also pick up on the stigma in a way that is very complicated, in a way that's very dynamic and hard to work through. The stigma, as relates to the homeless, is usually this idea that the homeless are a burden on society, the idea that the homeless are getting in the way of society, the idea that the homeless don't do anything, that they're lazy. You could go on and on being heavily critical, but these are attitudes that I hear a lot and that I've internalized. And I think that would already be hard, even though I have a lot of respect for the homeless in the sense that they're in survival mode and that they know how to put up with these things and deal with these things and make it through the day. I still think that what they're going through is very intense and very difficult, and it's very hard to live in such a complacent society. The stigma, though, gets pushed onto people that are helping as well, and the stigma takes on a different form, but it takes on this idea that, like, because you're helping these downtrodden people, you are also wasting your time, you are wasting resources, and you're essentially doing something that's not worthwhile. And this is what could be called a political thesis about the homeless. It's the political environment that, or the political idea and ideology that I've seen in the way that we talk about the homeless and how harsh it is. I'm talking about this because there are three ways in which I have been discouraged from helping the homeless and have therefore taken on the stigma from serving the homeless. And that has been the way in which I've been burned by a few homeless people themselves, the way that I have been burned by friends and family who didn't understand my ambition and what I was trying to do, and the way in which I've been burned and ignored and refuted by organizations who serve the homeless. So we'll keep this simple. Part of the reason why I'm thinking about this is because yesterday I got in a really heated discussion about homelessness, and the friend of mine directly said, "I do not like the homeless." They did amend this later when they realized that we were talking about panhandlers, but this bothered me because it seemed like an internalization of all of these attitudes that I have seen society internalize over and over again against the homeless, and bracketing the homeless in all of these various stigmas and stereotypes that has made it very difficult for me to do the work that I do. And so I've been thinking a lot about that. I've been thinking about the way in which even family has not understood what I've been trying to accomplish with helping the homeless. So they would say things like, that just that, like, for one, so as an example, for once, one time I got criticized for trying to get the story of a homeless man to try to spread awareness, and this homeless person was criticized for their lifestyle, and I thought that was very harsh and judgmental. And even when I talked to a religious leader, he seemed to have this idea that the judgment actually could have been okay, because it's okay to judge about right and wrong, so to speak. It's okay to judge. But I felt that the point was missed in the sense that it really seemed like a harsh stereotype of how homeless people are and what homeless people do, and that if people are doing certain things, then they're automatically undeserving of help. And I think that it's a very harsh attitude to adopt, because I don't think we should discriminate we should be discriminant about who we serve. But that's simply a principle that I operate on. I also mentioned that I've been burned by organizations, and this is definitely true. No organization, with the exception of the Awesome Legacy Initiative, has wanted me to work with them. I've tried job applications and resumes, as well as simply volunteer applications, and trying to freelance as well, and editing, and just various things. And all of that has failed. I've literally been trying for years. I have another video on that called My Failures and Successes of Helping the Homeless, which you can view. But the basic idea is that indeed the bureaucracy really resists people that want to make change because they have their own vision in mind, and they're unaccommodating towards other alternative visions or even alternative experiences that may be able to help and serve this population. And unfortunately, I have to admit that I've also been burned by some homeless people themselves. Sometimes homeless people have been hostile towards me. Sometimes they've been mean. And so, in conclusion, what I would have to say is this idea that what this does is this causes me to internalize all of these stigmas. The stigma of helping the homeless, of feeling shame, of feeling like I'm not helping anything. It seems that we have this attitude in mind that the homeless people and the homeless situation is set and that it can't be changed. And this seems unfair when considering that we are the reason why homeless people exist in a large degree and in a large sense, because we promote this capitalist society, we promote means and reasoning, we promote wealth and the disparity of wealth and all of these various things. Now, I don't want to make this a Marxist critique. I don't want to make this a rant. I don't even want to make this political, but I do want to point out that the politics of homelessness make it very hard to serve, and if it wasn't for the legacy initiative that I serve with, I probably would have given up on this population a long time ago. And if you're one of those people who do think that this is a worthwhile cause, imagine the ways in which I wouldn't have been able to make a difference. Now I make a difference in the sense that I write about it. I write about it for the Legacy Initiative, the nonprofit I work for, and I also write various pieces in general about it. So I critique it from the outside, and I also serve as well. And I think it's really important work, despite the stigmatizations that surround this complicated issue. This is Phoenix, and thank you.